how much do real estate values go up and how fast if Trump gets in? I think interest rates are going to be lower than they ever have been before. So for me, when it comes to real estate, it's such a slow-moving Goliath. I look at it as, let everybody be worried about the election and who's going to win or whatever. I'm going to buy as much real estate as possible. So I think you've got about an 8 to 9 month window right now to go shopping. And so that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, dude, give Kevin a round of applause here. Bro, you're usually behind the camera. You're on stage now. How often do you do this?
Not too often, but I'm really happy to be here. This is a great crowd you've got here. I've heard a lot of real estate investors out here as well. Yay for real estate.
There we go. There we go. So what do you think? You know, I just got done with this content panel talking about how content can change your real estate business, everything else. How has content helped your real estate business? What are you doing right now?
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for content. I was pulling my real estate Prius with my face on the side or having it tow a real estate little trailer, like a little 4x6, also with my face on it. And if it wasn't for YouTube, I'd still be putting signs in yards myself, because that's what I did. I did every part of my business myself. But YouTube just exponentially changed what I could have ever imagined. So social's huge, absolutely.
Yeah, and now you have a fund, you're doing different things. Like, tell me about, you know, how much you've been able to raise and capital from real estate and all these other, or from social media and all these other things.
Yeah, totally. So right now we have a company. It's not raising right now. We raised a little over $50 million, and we're really focused just on buying really good deals. So great areas, high quality real estate, trying to buy below market value. Usually we find the easiest way to do that in real estate is single family fixers.
Yep.
Mostly because there's so little competition. You're fighting mostly against people who are afraid of lead and mold and asbestos. And if I go into a house and it doesn't have lead, mold, and asbestos, I don't like it. I want those things. It's probably not good, but just yesterday I was with my 6-year-old. We went through a house, or was it North San Diego, and there's mold all over the wall. I say, "See, son, that's what we love." And he's like, "Dad, should I be in here?"
I love it.
So yeah, singles, you know, multifamily is great too if you can get a developer in distress, which sometimes you can. But I'll tell you, it's a lot more property management.
Yeah.
I could manage, you know, 200 single families in my sleep, but you know, 120 unit can keep me up all night. You know, it's a lot of different intensity.
So, I mean, you raised $50 million for your fund through just literally YouTube.
Oh yeah, all YouTube.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah.
So tell
I'm
me
so blessed at that.
Yeah, so tell me how your YouTube career has evolved, because I know you were one of, like, I would say one of the first real estate guys to be on YouTube, and then you started getting more into politics. You even ran for governor. Yep. So, like, you've done a lot of things. Like, how has your career evolved?
Well, I only did that because I hate Gavin Newsom.
What do you think about Biden stepping down?
Well, thank God. Yeah, look, probably what happens now is the Democratic Party has this problem of control where they always sort of run the narrative and they decide what's going to happen. They did the same thing with my campaign in California. You're not allowed to vote for a backup Democrat. You're only allowed to vote no on the recall, vote for Newsom, and then leave the rest of the ballot blank. The Democratic Party, led by people like, you know, Obama and Pelosi, they would rather tell Americans to leave a ballot blank than give people another choice. And so I think Americans have finally sort of woken up to, like, wait, that's a problem. And so I think here at the DNC we'll actually have a mini primary, mini runoff between between Harris, Whitmer, and Newsom. And somebody will pick up Pete Buttigieg or whatever. We'll see where that all goes. That's my thesis. And I think that's evidenced in just that you haven't seen Obama, Whitmer, and Newsom endorse Kamala yet. So that said, back to the sort of evolution of content. For me, you know, it's all about evolving and trying to provide value wherever it's possible. So you asked me kind of what got me into YouTube. I think you asked me that. What got me started was somebody else talking about real estate. And I'm like, nah, I got an opinion on this. I got something to say.
Yeah.
And so one of the wonderful ways, I call it sort of the Trojan horse on social media, it's I think a good strategy for everybody to think of, is if there's somebody you're watching or you're competing against or whatever, make a video, make a short or whatever, why I think so-and-so is wrong. And I do think it's okay to be complimentary, like, hey, they've got great advice, good. Here's where we differ. And it could be something really minor. Like, I think my first video was, what Graham Stephan isn't telling you. And everybody thought it was going to be this giant expose. And it was, Graham saying, hey, you need 20% down on a house. I'm like, 3.5.
Yeah.
So I just shared my story and my perspectives. Same thing with Grant Cardone. And whatever. Where is he? Is he here yet?
He's not here yet.
That's right. So anyway, yeah, there's so much to talk about with real estate investing. But what happens when you're on social is you also people start asking about your perspective on other topics. What are your thoughts on how this bill is going to affect California? How is this, presidential race going to affect real estate? Those are all important topics to be engaging in. This is the perfect time to start with social media, right here before the election. For example, I saw a property manager, he was getting 100 views a video, and he did a very sort of niche video, how California's SB, 344, whatever the number was, is going to affect real estate in California. 100,000 views. And it shows you how even picking up on some of these niche things that people are looking for, that people are really curious about, can really blow up your socials.
So do you think that, because I remember you really took off during COVID, talking about the stimulus and the PPP loan and all these different things, and then you kind of just rode with it. And I mean, dude, you were making 5-10 videos a day on YouTube. Like, I mean, talk about that, because we were just talking about how most people don't post enough volume. They're not even willing to post once a day. And you're making 5 to 10 YouTube videos a day.
It depends on where you can provide value. And that's always the hardest part, because we can post 10 times a day, but that was great during COVID when there was literally news every hour. And now you're kind of getting back to that with, the Trump assassination attempt, which was horrible, this Biden transition. Now we're getting back to, wow, there's news almost every hour. There's something different again. Great opportunity to pick up. But there are times where it makes sense to post less if there isn't something new you can provide value on. So it's difficult to say, how many times can I make a video on 0 to millionaire real estate investing?
Yeah.
There are only so many times I can do that. Now, here's how Kamala Harris will affect the real estate market. That's an interesting video, a new spin. So as long as you can provide value on a new perspective, I'm all for filming and posting and editing more. And really, I think it's not even about the tech. It's just about getting your opinion out there. On my way over here, I filmed an iPhone video on 720p just because I'm like, I need to upload this fast and now. And these videos do just as fine as the production ones in my world, in news.
Yeah. And that's what, Kate was just saying, like, start with your phone. Literally, you could post videos on your phone. It's not that big of a deal. Like, we went through this period where everybody wanted these super highly produced things, and now people are kind of like, I like the realness a little bit.
It depends on your audience, too. I can't put a real video in front of a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Right? I've got my son, he's, one of them. He's 6, 7 kids now. It's a little crazy.
7 kids. Give Kevin a round of applause for somehow functioning.
So, he wants to desperately meet Mr. Beast. He's like, Kevin, take me to Mr. Beast. I want to win 10 grand. And I'm like, son, it is going to cost us more than 10 grand to get there. So, anyway, for children, and maybe even into the teenage world, the high-paced editing, the transitions, the effects, the music, the sounds, all of that's really important. You look at like a Danny Duncan, the sizzle, obviously Mr. Beast, or Imam Ghazi or whatever. Like, these are very, in my opinion, driven towards your 10 to 21-year-old demo. And so I found that I have more people who watch my channel who are older than 45 than under 25.
Okay.
So that's pretty rare on YouTube. And what I found is my audience doesn't care about any of that. They just want the value. What's the perspective? They want to put me on, listen to me in a car or whatever, and give me the perspective. What do I need to know about politics? How is this going to affect my money? How is this going to affect my real estate? Do I really need to worry about this? And so on and so forth. So it depends on your audience.
Okay. So, this is content right here. I'm probably just posted on YouTube, at some point. So thinking of a YouTube hook right here on the spot, right? Biden stepped down today. How does Biden stepping down affect the real estate market?
Biden wasn't doing anything anyway.
Inflation is crazy. Right now, $3 won't even get you a gallon of gas or a cup of coffee. But the good news is it'll get you my wholesaling blueprint and a trial to Wealthy University. You might be wondering, Ryan, what are those? Well, Wealthy University is our online community where you're going to be able to network with 6, 7, and 8-figure real estate investors and entrepreneurs. We have live calls every single week. You can come and ask me questions directly every single Tuesday, and you have access to all of our courses, all the recordings of WealthCon, and exclusive events. Along with that, you're also going to get our wholesalers blueprint, which is going to give you all the scripts we use when we talk to sellers, all the contracts that we've used to lock up hundreds of deals, and you'll even get my contractor's guide, which gives you all of the materials we use in our house flips. And if that wasn't enough, I'm also going to give you a copy of my 2 books, The Wealthy Way and Flip Your Future. All of that will be yours for just $3 by going to wealthyuniversity.com. There is no better deal for $3, especially when inflation's on the rise. So instead of maybe getting half a cup of coffee, go to wealthyuniversity.com and go get the wholesaler's blueprint and your trial today.
So yes, here Trump here. I think the better question is how much do real estate values go up and how fast if Trump gets in. I think there's a strong belief that under a Trump presidency, rates will come down more rapidly. And I hear that. Obviously, the Fed says they're apolitical, whatever, it doesn't matter. Here's my thesis. In 10 years from now, maybe 9 years from now, I put a target on my calendar of 2033. I think interest rates are going to be lower than they ever have been before.
Why do you think that?
Well, because it's the direction we've been on for 40 years. Deflation. If we didn't print money, we would be in rapid deflation leading up to COVID. Obviously, we printed our way into substantial inflation. But we're going to go back to deflation, mostly because of the innovation from whether it's chips or AI, which some of that's a little overblown right now or whatever. We're going to go into deflation, but we won't see it because they'll keep printing money. So what does that do? Drives real estate up and rates down. Rates down cycles into more real estate up. So for me, when it comes to real estate, it's such a slow-moving Goliath. I look at it as, let everybody be worried about the election and who's going to win or whatever. I'm going to buy as much real estate as possible.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan now. I think you have an interesting opportunity where it depends on the market you're in, but in certain markets, real estate's already bottomed out from this sort of turbulence. A lot of blue states, ironically, have bottomed out. Some of the red states where you had a lot more building, they're still in a bottoming process. Texas, Florida, bottoming process. California, ironically, it's bottomed. So what's fascinating about that is if we truly believe that rates are going to be lower than ever before in 2033, you want to own as much real estate as possible. And my take is that here before the election, you're going to have a lot of home buyers who are going to say, oh, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait to see what happens at the election. You know, what if it's Trump? What if it's Kamala? What if it's Newsom? Oh my gosh, a lot of max uncertainty before the election. And the election will happen. Then it'll be Thanksgiving. Then it'll be Christmas. And people wait until the spring to buy. So I think you've got about an 8 to 9 month window right now to go shopping. And so that's exactly what I'm doing.
I love it. So let's talk about just the economy overall. Obviously, we're all very bullish on real estate in the next 9 months and, you know, in the next decade, essentially, right? Because your whole point is if you buy real estate now, we know that prices are going to keep going up. And then if we refi down the road with lower rates, like then we've created a significant margin on rents, all of those things. But like, what do you think about the economy overall with, you know, these companies declaring bankruptcy and the stock market and all this?
From a real estate point of view, I don't think it matters terribly much. I think obviously there's more pain in commercial real estate. I think residential, you'll still have a process, again, red state versus blue state. Again, that all comes down to building. Where are they building? Where did they overbuild during COVID? Then all of a sudden the new arrivals stop coming and now you've overbuilt. So rents fall, prices fall. That's very normal. Some of that normalization will happen. But as far as the economy, look, if we have a reset here before the election where the stock market falls, say 15, 20% or whatever, you're going to get more layoffs. more layoffs are going to rapidly drive us into a technical recession. So we can absolutely have a recession by the first quarter of 2025. But my point is that if we go into a technical recession and inflation is gone, which I believe, rates will be back to zero before we know it. And so I'm going to want to be in real estate before that.
So what do you think about, just a lot of people in this room are, W-2 employees who are trying to transition into real estate full time.
That's great, by the way.
Yeah.
Leverage that W-2 and buy real estate as your golden ticket to qualify. People poop on the W-2. It is the best way to buy real estate.
Yeah. You get the consistent income, the tax returns, all those things. So what do you think about, as we continue to go along this path with social media, and these influencers and everything else, like, is your plan to keep doing social media, to double down? Do you think that there's a point of diminishing returns where, you've built enough of a brand, you don't need to go as hard at it? Like, how do you navigate that between, because actually, let me rephrase this to an even simpler question. I think the problem many people have in this room is, how do you balance your actual everyday job and social media, or your business and everything else? Because for you, I know that social media is the business, but now you've got this massive portfolio and this fund you're managing and everything else. So how do you figure out that balance?
I find there are a lot of hours in the day. and I think that sounds really unrelatable, because we think, well, wait a minute, I have a 40-hour-a-week job. But when we run the numbers, we go, wait a minute, if I sleep 8 hours a day, which I don't, I'm like under 6 hours, which is stupid. Like, you should get the 8 hours. But I wake myself up in the middle of the night thinking about business ideas. It's like neurotic. It's bad. But so let's say you sleep 8 hours a night. That's 112 hours, if I do my math correctly, 112 hours a week that you have. The average 40-hour-a-week job, which gets 2 to 3 weeks time off, paid holidays, whatever, is actually only working 35 hours a week. And so the real question is, what are you doing with that difference? What are you doing with the difference between 112 hours and 35? Whatever that is, 77 or whatever hours. That's a lot of time. I could fit another 2 full-time jobs in there. One of those full-time jobs should and could be family. Another one of those full-time jobs could be whatever else we're doing. For example, we're starting a broker-dealer in finance. So I have all my securities licenses, 24, 27, all of these things. We've got the real estate company, and then social media. And so what I found is I try to get my social media done early in the morning. As a startup, as a business person, or same thing was true when I was a realtor. Nobody bothers me between 5 and 8 a.m. Nobody's awake. It is a fantastic time to get things done, whether it was my transaction coordinating or posting to social. And so I still do that today. I try to be done by 8, and then I got the rest of the day for people. Because frankly, you have to meet people in business. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to do, remote and Zoom or whatever. That's fine to an extent. I like meeting people. I like doing deals in person, and that won't stop. So I'm going to keep doing, because you asked, I will keep doing social in the morning. It's the best free advertising that exists. Yep. And then I'll do business for the rest of the day.
So what's your last piece of advice as we wrap up here to everybody who's thinking about social, thinking about growing their business, the economy? I mean, I know you're in so many different realms of things right now, but I guess what would you say is the most important thing for people to focus on right now?
Who here owns real estate? Shout out if you already own real estate. Shout. Okay. It sounds like about 50%. Okay. Who here wants to own real estate but doesn't yet? Okay, so a good amount of people. Buy. The big question is, somebody just shout out, what's stopping you from buying? Money? Okay, that's a good one. What else? Credit? Okay. All right. So these things are solvable. These things are absolutely solvable. So I think my last piece of advice here is focus on solving that first. I know people who graduated piloting school. I thought about being a pilot. I read the FAA handbook, by the way, and there was a picture. It said, this person should not be a pilot. It was me. But anyway, people graduate pilot school, and then now they're making 140, 150K to start. People, get into nursing, they're making 6 figures. They get into becoming an accountant or an attorney or whatever. You're making 6 figures right away. That makes it a lot easier to pay your credit off 4 times a month, or pay your credit card bills or whatever off 4 times a month. Boost that up. Hey, now you got the credit to go buy. You got the W-2 job. You can always transition to self-employment in the future. But focus, get those dollars in and go buy as soon as possible. Best hack, by the way, in this market. If you're, who's nervous about the market the next year? Shout. I'm surprised. Not a lot of confident people. Who's excited? Damn! What did you do to these people?
We're ready to go. We're ready to go.
That's great.
Biden quit. They're good.
There you go. Okay, best thing you could do in real estate right now: buy first phase new construction. That means it's 18 months to 2 years out from being done. Put a $5,000 deposit down on it. When the market, if let's say the market crashes in 18 months and they call you up, you go, you want to close? You go, no thanks, give me my $5,000 back. Worst case, you're out $5,000. Do that on a $500,000 home, who cares? $5,000. Market skyrockets the next 18 months, free option basically.
There we go. There you have it. Give Kevin a round of applause. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you. Thank you. Yep.